Hello and a very warm welcome. Dr. Abhishek here, and today I'm going to talk about a very important aspect of your civil service journey, that is answer writing. Answer writing is the part that connects your knowledge to actual examination hall performance. Think of it. What is the basis for the examiner to assess you, reward you in a given year? It is nothing more than answers. For all other purposes, you are a faceless, you are a nameless individual in front of the examiner, and the sole basis of deciding your candidature, the merit of your candidature in a given year is nothing more than your answers. If you have written good answers, the examiner is going to consider you a good candidate. If you have not written a good answer, examiner is not going to consider you favorably. It is irrespective of the knowledge you possess. In my experience as a teacher for civil service for the last almost 20 years, I have seen the things working both way. Some of the very knowledgeable students were unable to organize it in the form of good answers. As a result, they could not score well. On the other hand, many candidates with relatively limited knowledge than those candidates scored well because they had this ability to put that limited knowledge to very good use, write a very good answer, good enough to impress the examiner hugely. And understand that even when you write just a decent answer, that can be enough to impress the examiner hugely because in the pressure of the examination hall, there are very few candidates who can write good answers consistently. So, distilled from my 20 years of teaching, I have brought to you 10 laws of writing good answers. I call them immutable because they worked way back when I started teaching. They tend to work even today. They have been the secret sauce of many toppers and many other candidates who could not become toppers, but nonetheless, they found a place in the civil service or Indian Forest Service list. So I'm very sure that when you go through it and you start working upon it, it will enhance the quality of your answer, and that way it will be enhancing your chances of selection in the civil service or forest service. Without much ado, let us start. My principle number 0 is accuracy of the content. Whenever any examiner is checking your answer, the first thing that the examiner is looking for, correctness. That have you answered it correctly? If your answer is not correct, maybe for the lack of preparation, maybe lack of revision, whatever, the examiner is going to give you very shabby marks, plain and simple. No amount of organization, no amount of illustration, for that matter, nothing else can save an answer that is wrong, that is misaligned to the demands of the question. So do not think that naively that if you have filled the space, examiner will give you some marks. Some of my teachers have been examiners in the UPSC. So I have seen them rewarding 0 marks if the question has been answered wrongly. So understand, a wrongly answered question fetches you up to 0 marks. And if there is some element of truth, there is some element of alignment, yes, it can give you 1, 2, 3 marks. But these kind of low scores are pretty inconsequential. So rather than making a strategy around filling the space somehow, you should actually be working at the level of preparation so that most of the probable questions are within your grip. Some of them can be in very good grip, some of them could be peripherally in grip, but it will be in an ideal scenario. You should be knowing at least some points about most of the question that will help you write a good answer script to begin with. So that is principle number 0. Now, the first principle, that is alignment between answer and the question. So I simply put it, answer the question. In simple way, you can look at it that each question has got multiple query areas. So when you are reading the question, highlight or underline the important query areas. Here I am giving you example of a question from GS paper 3 of Civil Service Main 2021. That is the most recent Civil Service Main examination that has been conducted. So this is a question on money laundering, and this is wonderfully overlapping in the zone of internal security, economy, as well as technology. And the question was that how emerging technologies and globalization contribute to money laundering. Elaborate the measures taken both domestically and internationally to tackle the menace or tackle the problem of money laundering. So this question obviously has got 3 primary query fields. The first one is emerging technology enabling money laundering. Second, globalization enabling money laundering. And third is how to tackle it. Two subparts. What have been the measures taken by India and what have been the measures taken by the international community to tackle the problem of money laundering? When you write in alignment with these query areas, when you divide your answer into specific segments touching upon each query areas, this is the best answer that you can give to the examiner. Do not worry too much about how much information you are packing with, because after all, the answer is going to be either in 150 word or 250 words. And within this limitation of words, you are not going to pack all the information that you might have come across. Besides, it is very impossible to remember all the bits of information that you have come across on a given topic at the time of your preparation. That is something I'm going to touch in a separate point also. But what I'm trying to tell you here, that whenever you see a question, quickly identify what are the query areas and then plan your answer along those query areas. Divide your answer into segments aligning with those query areas. So when an answer is in close alignment with the demands of the question, this is the answer the examiner is looking for. And because you are writing a very short answer in 250 or 150 word, so there is no point beating about the bush. Second, divide your answer into segments, subsegments according to the parts of the question. The part of the question, the query areas of the question, which I have described in the previous point. So just divide your answer into specific parts. So taking the example of the same question on the right side, highlighted by yellow, these are the parts of this answer. First, what is money laundering? Second, how new technology enables money laundering. Next, how economies globalization enables money laundering. And then measures to tackle with the problem and tackle the problem. And here there can be two subparts. Subparts, one is efforts taken by India and second is international effort. Okay, so you have to divide your answers into section and subsection. This is going to make very easy for the examiner to navigate through your answer, and such answers are going to be rewarded. Third thing is again an extension of this, that when you are dividing your answer, do not be naive to think that each part of the answer needs to have equal weightage. That may not be the case all the time. Sometimes, yes, this may be the case that the question is so evenly divided into query areas that each query area must be getting equal weightage. But many a time this is not the case. This is something that you will have to decide sitting right in the examination hall, but quickly gathering from the concept that you have developed on the topic, try to divide your answer into proportionate parts. You have divided the answer, great, but the weightage needs to be given proportionately. There are certain parts which are going to be more important, where the examiner's expectation is going to be more. So those parts are going to be bigger. And then there are certain parts where examiner is expecting you to simply touch upon the essential points. Do exactly that. So here I have taken another question. So this question is also from mains paper 3, science and technology. No, Indian economy, beg your pardon. So do you agree that Indian economy has recently experienced V-shaped recovery? Give reasons in support of the answer. So very obviously, the question is giving you an option to take a stand. So in my opinion, an ideal way to go about it is to basically define what is V-shaped recovery. Maybe in two sentences, you are going to define it. Okay. And mind it that it was a 150 word question. That means you can write about 15 to 17 sentences in this answer. So first two sentences go to define it. After that, you come to post-pandemic recovery in the Indian economy. What have been the trends? What have been the figure? So mention that in approximately 3 points or 3 sentences. And then based on that, come to the V-shaped recovery. V-shaped recovery, if you notice, the government of India also spoke about V-shaped recovery, and the economic survey also has spoken about the V-shaped recovery. So when you are talking about the V-shaped recovery, so give the rationale given by the economic survey, the rationale given by the government of India to support this idea of V-shaped recovery taking place in the Indian economy. So because this is an idea supported by the government or supported by the economic survey, which is obviously a government publication, so this is something that needs a greater weightage. So do you notice that now here you are going to write approximately 5 out of 15 to 16 sentences. So close to one third of the weightage is going to one part of the answer. But at the same time, you should keep certain part of the answer for other perspective. There have been other perspectives, and other perspectives have also been substantiated. And substantiation is one of the later points I'm going to talk about. So other perspective is that the economy, all the sectors have not shown recovery. Certain sectors have gone up, certain sectors have gone down, and they need some sort of support. So some of the economists have spoken about K-shaped recovery. Then some of the economists have made an argument for W-shaped recovery. So give other perspective, and in one sentence also explain why this has been put forward as a perspective, what is the logic behind it, and finally you can conclude. So this is a very good way to look at it, that different parts of the answer need not be in equal weightage. Different parts of the answer could have different weightage. So once you have divided your answer, assign the relative weightage. Sometimes it will be very easy, sometimes you will have to do it then and there. Next is, you have to write straight. Don't beat about the bush, because the word limit is very, very well defined. You have no word to waste. So write straight, write simple, and be concise. Do not write long sentences. Always, examiner finds it hard to read. Whatever you are writing, write as jargon free as possible. One example I'm giving you on the next page. And straightness means that hitting exactly at the requirement of the question. And when you already know that your answers can be at the most 150 or 250 word long, what is the point of becoming encyclopedic in your preparation? Even though you have all the resources on your fingertips, on your mobile device, you have no time. Time is finite. The resources are maybe infinite, but time is finite. Your energy, attention, and capacity to memorize, they all are very finite. So try not be encyclopedic. Try keeping your preparation in alignment with the actual demands of the examination, where the actual demand of the examination is to write on a given dimension of a topic in maximum of 150 or 250 words. So what is the point served in preparing one dimension of a topic in 2 pages, 3 pages? It is sheer wastage of your time as well as preparation energy. Do not do that. And once your preparation has this conciseness, this kind of focus, you will end up writing effortlessly a straight, simple, and concise answer. So there was a question on S-400 air defense system. So I have just written an introduction. So a lot of introduction which I saw around, so they were very still kind of jargon loaded introductions. So I have kept it simple. That is, S-400 air defense system is a long range surface to air missile system. That is point number one, very vital. And second, that it is meant to defend a territory from enemy missiles and aircraft. I'm not writing airborne threats. Airborne threats is a very not very technical कि किसी को नहीं समझ में आएगा, but still it is not as clear as that it gives you protection from two things, enemy missiles and enemy aircraft. Simple. Next point is who developed it and what is it commonly known as. And next is the India connection, that India has signed a deal with Russia for supply and deployment of these air defense systems. So that is how specific you need to be. And the specificity should enter your preparation very, very early rather than coming at a later stage of answer writing. Next, when you already know that the answer has a finite word limit and you will also be in a race against time, so you always have to optimize the depth at the level of your preparation and also at the level of writing the answer. A good answer is going to have many relevant points. I'm not saying as many relevant points as possible, because on certain topic there can be many relevant points. So I'm not arguing for that. but I'm saying that as many important points as you can include, and then elaborate those points only on the basis of need. You should not be trying to go in depth for each and every point. One, it will be hard to prepare such answer. And second, you will not be getting an opportunity to write in such depth for the lack of time or for the lack of words. So optimize the depth at the time of writing and better at the time of preparing the topic itself. Next is, because again it is something related to word limit, because there is tight word limit, so never repeat something. Write it once, write it clearly, and do not repeat it. Then elaborate only when there is a need. When they ask you to analyze one certain aspect of it, then you elaborate, else elaboration is not needed. So I often tell in a way of conversation to my students that for civil service general studies, your preparation needs to be ankle deep and ocean wide. By ocean wide, I mean that you should be covering as many relevant dimensions as possible, but do not go in the depth of each and every dimension, because this kind of preparation never reaches its destination. You will always be in the research mode. You have to get into the habit of closing a topic and moving to the next topic, and closing that topic also and moving to the further next topic. And this, with this approach, you will be always optimizing your depth, as I said in the previous point, and you will also get in the practice of never repeating yourself and elaborating strictly on the basis of need. This is the golden rule to finish your paper. Now, when we come to the next point, it is about substantiation. When you give example, that gives you credibility. Do you recall when we were talking about the V-shaped recovery? So until you give the a specific example on the basis of which the government of India said that the economy has gone through a V-shaped recovery, or for that matter, the economic survey has also argued that the economy of India has started witnessing V-shaped recovery. What has been the reasons given by the government of India, either by way of press release or by way of economic survey? So substantiation will give depth and credibility to your answer. Without that, it will look very, very hollow. And talking of economic survey, I really like the way they substantiate every single observation. So when they make a generalization, they always give you data, always give you trend to substantiate that generalization. If you can bring even 50% of that kind of substantiation habit in your answer writing, it will be a huge boost to your scoring potential. Next one is illustration. And by illustration, I do not mean diagram. That is a very narrow way to look at illustration. So when we are talking about a phenomenon, observation, generalization, in such cases, the examples are the illustration. When we are talking about the organization or the structure of something, maybe an organization chart will be the illustration. When we are talking about a process, then a process flow chart will be the illustration. If we are talking about something related to geography or something which happens in a specific parts of India or a specific parts of the world, you may think of making a quick map in your answer script. These are illustrations. If you are thorough with certain data, and if you think you can make a chart around that data, or if you can make some sort of a graph, do make that. Even a rough graph will be a big boost to the quality of your answer. So illustrate where there is a need to, but do not illustrate to beautify. A lot of your students naively use illustration to beautify. Examiner is mature enough not to be impressed by these beautification attempts. Examiner is looking for such illustrations which take the narrative, which take the answer further rather than repeating the obvious thing. So illustrate. The next one is invert the pyramid. By inverting the pyramid, I mean to say that come out of that habit of first gently talking about something, then gently elaborating it, and then going about building a case, building an argument. Inverting the pyramid means bring the most important thing right in the top. Those of you who have been trained in journalism, some of you must be having journalism degree. So you might have been exposed to inverted pyramid style of writing, because this is something globally newspapers follow. They give you the most important bit of information right in the headline. So similarly in your answer, the beginning should bring the most important information or definition or what is it, so on and so forth. After that, you get into the details. And as you go down and down and down in your answer, you should be bringing other details. And finally, in the end of your answer, you come to the peripheral aspect like applications, the way forward, and all. That gives the examiner an opportunity to see your competence very early in the answer, and that saves the examiner from the necessity of going through the entire answer to understand the quality of your preparation. So when you practice inverted pyramid, you are making it very easy for the examiner to assess you, because in the beginning only you have showcased your knowledge in a very, very effective manner. And last but not the least, all these ideas will remain ideas if you do not practice. So practice is exactly where the ideas are put into action, and then the real answers start developing. So you will have to start writing from a very early stage of your preparation. When you have covered one small part of your syllabus, be it optional, be it general studies, once you have done that, find questions with help of your teacher. Do not necessarily confine yourself to previously asked questions. Only a certain number of previously asked questions are repeated. Most of the questions are set afresh in the examination. That is where you will need a teacher. So with help of a teacher, get those questions, write it, write following these principles, write no less than 500 answers to develop certain degree of maturity of answer writing, so that when you actually go into the examination hall, you really do not have to plan writing the answer. All these principles should have become your second nature, should be a part of your answer writing habit, so that you look at the question and you start writing with great flow without any hiccup. When you do that, you will be actualizing your true potential as a civil service candidate. You will be writing fabulous answer, which will be rewarded even more fabulously, and that will lead you to the result that you are working towards. So I hope you found this video useful. I would highly recommend, if needed, go through this video once more, make your own notes, and put these ideas into practice. So that is all in this video. And till we meet again, goodbye and good luck to all of you. I am Dr. Abhishek Kumar from Evolution. Goodbye.